I love people as I meet them one by one. People are just wonderful as individuals. You see the whole universe in their eyes if you look carefully. But as soon as they begin to group, as soon as they begin to clot, when there are 5 of them or 10, or even groups as small as 2, they begin to change. They sacrifice the beauty of the individual for the sake of the group. I decided it was all under the control of groups now, whether it's business, religion, political people, or what, and I would distance myself from wishing for a good outcome. Let it do what it's going to do, and I'll enjoy it as an entertainment.
People like to pretend groups are about connection. They are not. Groups are about control. They're about taking messy, unpredictable humans and turning them into manageable patterns. Turning complex inner worlds into simple social roles. Turning identity into something that can be monitored, corrected, and rewarded. George Carlin said it best. When people form in groups, they don't get smarter. They don't get safer. They drop to the most comfortable average so nobody has to feel exposed. And the more I've watched people, the more I realised that wasn't comedy. That was diagnosis. Because the moment you enter a group, you stop being a person. You become a version. The funny one, quiet one, reliable one, strong one, emotional one, agreeable one, the useful one. And once that group assigns you a role, you are punished for outgrowing it. Not violently, politely. You don't get told you are wrong. You just stop getting included. Work is the first place you learn this. You don't just work, you perform. You perform positivity. You perform loyalty. You perform emotional discipline. You perform enthusiasm. You perform alignment. And the moment you stop performing, you feel the temperature shift. Not enough to complain about, just enough to notice. Social circles are worse, because they pretend they are about authenticity. Be yourself, they say. But what they mean is, be the version of yourself that doesn't disturb the group's emotional rhythm. Be different, but not disruptive. Be honest, but not uncomfortable. Be deep, but not inconvenient. And most people comply, not because they are fake, but because humans are wired to fear exclusion more than self-betrayal. So we edit ourselves. We soften truths, hold back instincts, swallow questions, and rehearse personalities. And yet we call it maturity. Now this is where it gets darker. Men are raised to exist. They are raised to qualify. A man's value is conditional. What you can do, what you can build, what you can protect, what you can provide, what you can endure, what you can offer, and what you can tolerate. A man is not loved for being. He is tolerated for usefulness. So men don't grow into themselves. They grow into resumes. They turn themselves into products. They optimize their bodies, their money, their status, their confidence, their humor, their emotional control, their ambition, their image. Everything becomes marketing. And if you fall in one category, nobody explains it. You just become invisible. Women experience a different pressure, more around desirability, comparison, emotional labor, beauty, and social image. Different erosion, same loss. Different chains, same cage. Men get hollow. Women get consumed. And the system benefits when we blame each other instead of noticing the structure. Now, the people who suffer most inside all of this are the ones wired differently. The thinkers, the slow processors, the deeply creative, the introverted but intense, the emotionally careful, the men who don't posture well, the men who don't sell themselves well. They are not broken. They are incompatible with shallow systems. But the system never questions itself. It labels them instead. Awkward, weird, lazy, arrogant, cold, negative. Because it is easier to label the environment. So they get pushed to the edges, not expelled, erased. They are told to improve themselves, work harder, be confident, be social, be interesting, be positive, be normal. Nobody asks if the environment itself is hostile to certain minds. Nobody asks if the game is rigged. They just blame the player. And adaptation becomes self-erasure. Because once you see that most relationships, most jobs, most communities, most movements, most social circles are built on conditional acceptance, you realize how rare real connection actually is. Performance feels like love until you stop performing. Then you find out what was real. Most people don't want truth. They want belonging. They want permission. They don't want individuality. So they trade themselves for safety. They trade instinct for applause. They trade their inner world for a seat at the table. And they call it adulthood. Men learn that their pain is optional. Their vulnerability is unattractive. Their silence is expected. Their worth is external. So men walk around with entire internal universes that nobody ever sees. And they are told they are privileged. Women walk around carrying emotional, social, and appearance expectations that never shut off. And they are told they are empowered. Both are trapped. And instead of seeing the trap, we fight each other. Because systems don't fear angry people. They fear awake ones. Carlin understood this. He understood that groups don't just clot, they protect the illusion is fair. That success is earned. That failure is personal. That suffering is individual. Because once you realize the game is rigged, you stop blaming yourself. And self-blame is the system's strongest leash. So the differently wired man grows up believing he's defective. The average man believing he's replaceable. The successful man grows up believing he's never enough. And all three stay running. Working, buying, posting, competing, comparing, performing. While the group applauds, because the group doesn't care if you're alive inside. It only cares if you are functional. Functional people keep systems alive. Awake people don't. So yes, people clot in groups. They clot around fear. They clot around comfort. They clot around narrative. And they clot around hierarchy. And inside that clot, individuality suffocates. Not because individuality is weak, but because it cannot be controlled. And the people wired differently are always the first to lose oxygen. Not because anything is wrong with them, but because they refuse to pretend convincingly enough. What you were taught, identity and worth, was designed to make you manageable. And once you see that, you don't become loud. You become distant. Because you realize most people are not talking to you. They are talking to the version of you that makes them comfortable. And you finally understand why being yourself always looked dangerous. Because it was. If this hit you, if you felt this but never heard it said out loud, you're just awake in a world that rewards sleep. If you want more of this, real conversations about power, psychology, identity, and the systems shaping us, hit like, subscribe, and stay with the channel. Because we are not here to perform. We are here to see. And once you see, you don't go back. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.